A long time ago, a very poor woman gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. The baby had a large blue mark on his hand, which, according to the prophets, made him very lucky. As soon as he was born, the wise prophets of the village predicted that when he turned 24, he would marry a princess and rule the kingdom. One day, while hunting, a king lost his way and ended up in the same village where the boy had been born. The villagers didn't recognize him because they had never seen him before. An old man, while talking, told the king that a child had recently been born in the village who, when he turned 24, would marry the king's daughter and rule the kingdom. The king got very angry when he heard this because he had just had a daughter. The king, who was already very arrogant and harsh-hearted, thought to himself, "Why not pay that poor woman some money, take her child from her, and get rid of him? This way, the lucky child won't be a threat and won't marry my daughter." The king asked the old man to take him to the woman. He told him, "She won't be able to take care of this child. Let me take him and raise him properly." The old man took the king to the poor woman's house. The king begged her to give him the child, saying, "You are very poor. How will you take care of him? Let me raise him for you." The poor woman refused at first, but the king offered her a lot of money and said, "With this money, you can take care of yourself. When this lucky child grows up, he will come to you himself." The poor woman thought that because this child was so special, it must be God's will that such a rich man came to take him. After much thought, she decided to give the child to the king. The king bought a wooden chest, placed the child inside it, and threw it into the flowing water, thinking the child would die from suffocation inside the chest. He was pleased, thinking that he had saved his daughter from an unwanted marriage. But, as they say, the one who saves is greater than the one who kills. And that's exactly what happened with the boy. The wooden chest floated and got stuck in a watermill. A worker at the mill saw the chest and thought it must contain a lot of money. He pulled the chest out of the water and opened it. To his surprise, inside was a baby wrapped in dirty clothes, sleeping peacefully. The worker thought, "What use is this child to me? Maybe I should take him to the mill owner. He has no children of his own, and he might want to adopt him." So the worker took the baby to the mill owner. The mill owner was very happy when he saw the child. He thought that maybe God had heard his wife's prayers and sent this child to them. The couple raised the child with great love and care. As the boy grew older, a bright aura started shining on his face. People who saw him couldn't help but stare in awe. One day, something unusual happened. The king was traveling on the same road that passed by the watermill. Suddenly, a huge storm arose, and the king had to stop near the mill. He saw a handsome young man sitting at a shop. The king asked the mill owner, "Is this your son? He is very handsome." The mill owner replied, "Yes, he is my son, because we raised him ourselves. About 24 years ago, we found this boy in a wooden chest." When the king heard this, old memories rushed back to him. He was surprised to learn that the boy he had thought was dead was still alive. The king immediately started thinking of another way to get rid of him. He asked the mill owner, "Can I ask this boy to do a job for me? I need to send an important letter to the queen. I'll give him 2 gold coins for delivering it." The boy immediately agreed, and the mill owner was also willing to send him. The king quickly wrote a letter to the queen. The letter said, "As soon as this boy reaches you with my letter, you must kill him and bury him far from the palace before I return." He sealed the letter and gave it to the boy. The boy set off for the palace, but since he had never been far from his home, he got lost on the way. He wandered through the forest, unable to find the path to the palace. By evening, he saw a light in the distance. He ran toward it and found a small, humble house. The house didn't have a door, and when he entered, he saw an old woman sitting alone by a fire. The woman was startled when she saw the boy and asked, "Son, where are you coming from, and where are you going?" The boy replied, "I'm coming from the nearby watermill, and I'm on my way to deliver this letter to the queen. But I got lost in the forest while searching for the palace. It got dark, and I saw this house, so I came here to spend the night." The old woman felt sorry for him, as the house was a hideout for bandits, and she worked for them. She feared that if the bandits saw the boy, they would kill him. The boy was also scared at first because he realized he had entered the bandits' den. But he was so tired from walking all day that he fell asleep in a corner of the house as the old woman suggested. Later that night, the bandits arrived. They were furious to find someone sleeping in their house, and they scolded the old woman. She explained everything to them and showed them the letter the boy had brought. The bandit leader saw the king's seal on the letter and became suspicious. He carefully opened the letter and read it. Feeling pity for the sleeping boy, he tore up the letter and replaced it with another one. The new letter read, "As soon as this boy reaches the palace, you must marry him to the princess. This must happen before the king returns." The bandit leader placed the new letter in front of the boy and left before dawn. The boy, unaware of the change, continued his journey to the palace. When he arrived and presented the letter to the queen, she was shocked. "What is this order from the king?" she thought. The letter instructed her to marry her daughter to a stranger, a boy she didn't even know. But since the letter had the king's seal, it couldn't be a trick. Before the king returned, she had to follow the king's orders. The queen called the boy to her. She liked his innocent and handsome face, so she decided to marry him to the princess the very next day. The boy, now married to the princess, lived happily in the palace. A few months later, the king returned to his palace and was very eager to learn about the boy. But when he found out that the queen had married the princess to that same boy, he was furious. It was exactly what he didn't want to happen. His wife had gone ahead and done it. The king demanded the letter from his wife, and upon seeing it, he was shocked. The letter mentioned the boy's marriage to the princess, and the king grew suspicious. He thought the boy must be educated and had probably swapped the letter on the way. The king called the boy to his presence and ordered him to tell the truth. The boy explained, "I did stay the night in an old house in the forest because I couldn't find the path to the palace and got lost." But the king didn't believe him. He hated the boy and didn't want him to become king after marrying his daughter. The king said to the boy, "In my absence, the queen has married my daughter to a beggar like you. But I will not accept this marriage until you bring me 3 golden hairs from the devil himself. Only then will you truly become her husband." The king set this impossible task, knowing that the boy would likely die in search of the 3 golden hairs. This way, he would be rid of him once and for all. The boy had no choice but to obey the king's command. If he refused, the king would have him killed. It was better to try and possibly succeed than to face death. So the boy set off the very next day in search of the 3 golden hairs. As he walked, he reached a large city with a big gate guarded by armed soldiers. The soldier asked him, "What brings you here?" The boy explained his story and asked the soldier, "Can you tell me where I can find the devil with golden hairs?" The soldier said, "I'll tell you the way if you answer one question." The boy, curious, asked, "What question?" The soldier replied, "There's a well at the edge of the city that used to produce sweet water, but now it's dry. Do you know why?" The boy said, "Wait for me to finish my task, and I'll give you the answer when I return. Now please tell me where to find the devil with the golden hairs." The soldier agreed, saying, "Fine, but you must answer me when you return, or I'll throw you in jail." The boy accepted, and the soldier told him the way. The boy followed the directions given by the soldier. After a long walk, he reached the gate of another city, where a soldier was guarding. The soldier asked him, "What brings you here?" The boy explained his story and asked, "Can you tell me where I can find the devil with golden hairs?" The soldier said, "I'll tell you the way if you answer one question." The boy asked, "What's the question?" The soldier said, "If you know everything, can you tell me why the apple tree at the city boundary, which used to bear golden apples, is now dry and withered? It no longer even has leaves. What's the reason for this?" The boy said, "Wait for me to finish my task, and I'll give you the answer when I return. Now please tell me where to find the devil with golden hairs." The soldier replied, "Fine, but if you don't answer when you return, I'll have you trampled by an elephant." The boy agreed, and the soldier gave him the directions. The boy followed the path the soldier told him. As he walked further, he reached the edge of a third city, where there was a big river and a small boat with a boatman. The boatman asked, "Why have you come here, and what do you know about this place?" The boy shared his story and said, "Can you tell me where I can find the devil with golden hairs?" The boatman replied, "If you know everything, how can I be freed from the task of traveling back and forth on this river?" The boy said, "I'll tell you the answer when I return. First, please take me across the river." The boatman agreed, saying, "Fine, but if you don't answer when you return, I won't take you back across the river." The boy agreed and got into the boat. The boatman took him to the other side and pointed him toward the path ahead. As soon as the boy crossed to the other side, he saw a dark and narrow path leading downward. He continued walking down the path, and as he descended further, he saw an old woman sitting in the yard. As soon as he entered the house, the old woman asked, "Child, who are you and why have you come here? Don't you know that the devil lives here?" The boy replied, "I've come to the right place. Now please help me." The boy told the old woman everything and said, "I need 3 golden hairs from the devil's head. Without them, I can't get my wife back." The old woman said, "Son, that is a very big request, and fulfilling it is not easy. When the monster comes home and sees you here, he will devour you. I must protect you." Feeling sorry for the boy, the old woman turned into a fly and hid him in the folds of her skirt. The boy said, "I also need to ask you 3 questions. The first one is, there is a well that used to flow with sweet, sherbet-like water, but now it is dry. Why is that? The second question is, there is an apple tree at the border of a kingdom that once bore golden apples, but now it is dry and has no leaves. Why has this tree dried up? The third question is, why does a fisherman always have to travel back and forth on the river? Why can't he be freed from this task?" The old woman replied, "These are very difficult questions, and the answers can only be found from the devil himself. I will try to help you, but you must hide quietly. If you don't, you won't survive." That evening, the devil returned home. As soon as he entered, he started sniffing around, saying, "I smell a human in my house. Something is wrong tonight. Who was here?" He searched the house but didn't find anyone. His foster mother scolded him and said, "I just cleaned the whole house. I don't see anyone here. Maybe it's just your imagination. Sit down and eat." When the devil didn't find anyone, he decided to trust his foster mother's words. He ate his food and lay down on a large mat on the floor. His foster mother lay on another mat beside him because she had to cut off 3 golden hairs from his head while he slept. As the devil started snoring loudly, the old woman carefully pulled out 1 golden hair from his head. The devil moaned in his sleep and asked, "Mother, what are you doing? Why are you pulling my hair?" The old woman replied, "Son, I had a terrible nightmare and scared, I grabbed your hair." The devil asked, "What was this nightmare that scared you so much?" The old woman said, "I dreamed that the well that used to flow with sweet water is now dry. Who is responsible for this?" The devil replied, "Only I know the answer. There is a large stone beneath the well, and under that stone lives a huge frog. If you kill that frog, the well will start flowing with sweet water again." Satisfied that the devil was deeply asleep, the old woman pulled out the 2nd golden hair from his head. The devil moaned again. "Mother, what are you doing now?" The old woman replied, "I had another strange dream, and I was so scared that I grabbed your hair." The devil asked, "What was this strange dream?" The old woman said, "I dreamed that there is a tree at the border of the kingdom, which once bore golden apples. Now it is dry and has no leaves. Why has it dried up?" The devil replied, "There is a mouse living at the roots of the tree that keeps nibbling on them. If you kill that mouse, the tree will begin to bear golden apples again." After hearing this, the old woman let the devil continue snoring loudly. When she was sure he was deeply asleep, she carefully pulled out the 3rd golden hair. The devil suddenly woke up furious and shouted, "Mother, what are you doing now?" The old woman tried to calm him down and said, "Son, I had another strange dream. What should I do about it?" The devil, still sleepy, asked, "What dream? Hurry up, I need to sleep." The old woman said, "I dreamed that a fisherman was complaining that he always had to travel back and forth across the river. Why can't he be free from this task?" The devil replied, "That fool, if he gives his paddle to someone else, he will never have to row the boat again." Satisfied that the devil was fully asleep, the old woman pulled out the last golden hair from his head. She then took the 3 golden hairs and quickly pulled the boy out from under her skirt. She handed him the 3 hairs and said, "You have heard the answers to your 3 questions. Now take these hairs and run away quickly." The boy, now holding the golden hairs, ran out of the house as fast as he could, leaving the devil still deep in sleep. The boy thanked the old woman from the bottom of his heart and set off towards his father-in-law's kingdom. On the way, he met the same boatman again. As the boatman dropped him on the other side of the river, the boy said, "Give your paddle to someone else, and only then will you be free from this daily back and forth." Upon hearing this, the boatman gave the boy a bag filled with a lot of money. The boy continued his journey and reached another soldier. He answered the soldier's question, and in return, the soldier loaded a donkey with a lot of money and gave it to the boy as a reward. The boy, with the donkey loaded with money, went to the first soldier and answered his question too. That soldier, too, loaded a donkey with a lot of money and gave it to the boy as a reward. Finally, the boy, carrying 3 golden hares and 2 donkeys loaded with wealth, reached his father-in-law's kingdom. The king was astonished to see all the wealth. Looking at the 3 golden hares and the donkeys filled with money, the king asked, "Where did you get all this wealth?" The boy explained everything to the king. Impressed by the boy's bravery, the king decided to marry his daughter to him. He also made the boy the king, handing over his entire kingdom and reunited him with his mother. So guys, if you enjoyed this story and want to hear more inspiring tales, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more adventures that will inspire and entertain. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Thank you.